Welcome to Winning with Annalee. I'm your host, Annalee Leonard, president of Mainstay Financial Group, right on the corners of Antes and Perry. Well, here we are, 2018, and of course, the big thing everybody talked about as we were getting toward the end of the year were the tax reforms. So I brought with me today Dr. Joan Connell, my business partner, because, you know, Joan gets affected by all these things too, because the deductions, tax deductions, go back to medical plans, they go back to long-term care, they certainly deal with everything that I do. So I wanted today to kind of try to give you some of the things that you need to start being aware of. And one of the things I'm going to ask you to do is start gathering your tax information early this year. Get it to your tax person, sit down and talk about what the 2018 changes are going to make for you, because you might want to do some things differently.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's really important to go ahead and talk with your tax person so you can plan ahead.
Well, that's exactly the whole thing. See, because we've had a lot of major areas that we've been accustomed to working with that are now changed.
Mm-hmm. Like, what are some of those areas, Annalee?
Well, the biggest thing that we're going to see is the tax tables themselves. We still have all the same tax tables. We have the single, the married filing single, head of household, yada yada. We still got all of those. We still have the same number of divisions in there, but the numbers have changed. Now, what that's going to mean, and I think it was kind of falsely presented in the aspect of everybody was going to get a tax cut. Well, that's not true. Some people are going to be in a lower tax bracket. There are some that are going to actually wind up paying more in taxes. So you've got to kind of look, sit with your tax person and figure out, where am I going to fall in this? So if you're one of those people whose tax brackets got lowered, you've got a lot of new opportunities for you that have changed from when you were in the higher tax bracket.
So if you have a lower tax bracket, you're probably going to have a little bit more money in your paycheck?
Well, you'll have more money in your paycheck, but also if you're in the lower tax bracket, you have to start thinking about some of the things that you do. Most people who are saving money, we either do it in our 401k, a deferred comp plan, 403b, whatever it might be, or your own IRA. Now, most of the time when people are doing that, they're doing it not just for the savings, but for the tax deduction, okay? So, if my tax bracket is lowered and my deductions are up, this is the time to really consider doing Roth and not traditional. Because you see, you may not get the tax break anymore for doing the traditional.
You won't get as great a tax break.
You may not get any.
Oh my goodness.
You may not get any. Because see, now, you know, before we have what we call standard deductions. For an individual that was $6,000. That's now 12.
Oh wow.
For a married couple it was 12. It's now 24. So if you're going to be itemizing or using things as deductions, they have to come over that $12,000 limit or that $24,000 limit, you see, before you can deduct them.
I see.
So if I have an IRA and I put into a traditional IRA, and let's say I put $6,000 in, and let's just for sake, let's use round numbers, say I'm in the 10% tax bracket, I get a $600 write-off, okay? But if I've already got $12,000 or $6,000 that I'm able to deduct, does that hit my deductible amount? So if it doesn't, why not just go ahead and do a Roth, which have now been around for 20 years, go ahead and do a Roth, because now I have an instrument that whatever I put in, plus the interest on that, plus the interest on the interest and the principal, that's called triple compounding. When I go to take that out 10 years, 15 years down the line, it's totally tax-free.
No taxes.
It's totally tax-free, nor do I ever have to make a required minimum distribution on that money. So I can push that back, and make that the last money I use which would be the most efficient thing to do, because then you're pulling out money that you don't have to pay taxes on.
That's right.
And the longer I let it sit, the more opportunity it gives me.
Well, that's,
You see?
this is why you need to talk with your tax person.
This is why you need to get with your tax person, your financial advisor, and you need to have those two talk together. You know how we do all the time in our office. In our office, we have Gwen Gore. She's an enrolled agent, and I explain an enrolled agent like a CPA on steroids. You know, she's like Superwoman. But, you know, she and I confer together very often on my clients. I confer with the people that don't use her. I talk to their tax people before we do things. This may be a great year if you're doing some movement in your portfolios that are going to cost you taxes. Might be a good year to do it. You see, because now you have that higher standard deduction.
Yes, yes.
So on that end, it's going to be good. On the other end,
Yeah, let's talk about...
let's talk about the other side, because you know you always have the yin and the yang of everything. So all the way over here in the other end, what you got to worry about is the majority of people who make middle, above middle incomes, own a home, have kids, they do the long form. They do deductions to make sure that they're getting a lower tax bracket. Well, now it might not do you much good to itemize if you're getting that $24,000 as the standard deduction.
Because your itemizations have to reach
gotta
that,
exceed.
whatever that level is, and
Gotta
go
exceed
above it
that
to make
for
it...
to make it worthwhile.
Okay.
So I think what we're going to see is more people are going to seriously be considering the Roth. Yay. You know, because I get to use my two favorite words in the world, tax-free, when it comes out. More people are going to be considering Roths. More people are going to be converting traditional IRAs to Roth IRAs, because it won't cost you as much to do it if your tax bracket is lower. Okay, so we'll be seeing more conversions, but the thing I have to warn everybody about with the new law is that it used to be you could have a traditional, convert it to a Roth, and if you happen to put that money in a real loser and it started losing money and you're saying, wait a minute, I paid tax on this much and now I only got this much, you could do what was called a recharacterization. You could make it an IRA again. Can't do that anymore.
Oh.
That's stopped.
Okay.
So once we go to Roth, it's Roth. So when you make that movement, make sure you're making a movement into something that has a managed aspect to it, where somebody is helping you control, balance it, make sure that the investments you're in are suitable to the risk you want to take, or maybe even look at something in the market that has a stop loss to it. So you're limited as to how far you can go down, but you're never limited as to how far you can go up. And there are instruments like that in the market. So, you know, that kind of gives you the best of both of those worlds.
Kind of helps you sleep at night, really, to know
Yeah.
there's a stop loss.
There's a stop loss in there, and that definitely helps. So I think we're going to see a change and finally see more people gearing toward that Roth. And please understand this. People come in and say, oh, Annalee, I can't contribute to this because I'm contributing to the plan at work. One doesn't eliminate the other. You can have both, okay? And if your 401k plan doesn't have a Roth provision to it, if I were you, I'd go talk to my boss and say, could we have a Roth provision in here? Now, that way what you put in, you can put toward Roth. What your employer puts in has to be toward the traditional. They won't put into the Roth for you, but at least now you're getting that Roth benefit on both sides.
I think that's what you offer at Mainstay to
We
our
do
employees.
offer that at Mainstay. We have traditional and we have Roth. So what I put in is a profit sharing for our employees. That goes to the traditional. Casey and Megan, because they're younger, they do totally Roth contributions, which is so smart for them, you know. So you want to look at those things and where do I want to put my money? The other thing people very often come in and say is, well, I make too much money to do a deductible IRA or to do a Roth, because there are limits, okay? Now this is legal. I wouldn't talk to you or do anything that wasn't. But there's something called a backdoor Roth. a backdoor IRA, where we actually take money, put it into an IRA. Now, you don't get a deduction for it because you make too much money, okay? But you immediately convert it to a Roth.
Huh.
So now you've got that Roth growing, and every year we do the same thing. We leave a little bit over here in the traditional to keep it open, but we consistently, as long as it's legal, are going to be doing that. And they did not touch it.
Wow, that was a good thing then. That was a good thing.
They did not touch it. It was one of the things they left on the table.
Well, everything you just said shows me the importance of talking to someone like you about this whole picture. Because I had no idea about that, and I work with you. I mean, but it's so complicated, and it's not what I do, so that's why it's important for people to talk to somebody like you.
You got to think of it as just like medicine. If you're going down a hall and there are all kind of doors, and in medicine, if you're trying to diagnose something, you look at the symptoms, and that tells you which doors to go through, okay? Financial planning is very much the same aspect. You're going down a hall, and once you talk to that client, you find out about that client, and you find out about what they need, and what are their dreams, and what do they want to do, and importantly, how much money do I have to work with, then I know which doors to go into. So the $1 million clients come in, I'm going to be using one of those doors down there because I have things I can do there I can't do for the $50,000 client. See? So it's a different approach, and this is why it's so important for the advisor to get to know each individual client.
Absolutely.
You know, what do they need? What do they want? What do they want to accomplish? And it's why it's so important for the advisor to keep up with what's going on. That's just an unbelievable thing. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a little bit, and I'm going to tell you how the new tax laws are going to affect your charitable contributions.
Oh, good, good.
Okay.
Retirement strategies come in all shapes and sizes. One strategy does not fit all when it comes to reaching your retirement goals, and considering all your options may be, well, more than you want to think about. So whether you're looking to retire or already living in retirement, you need a strategy tailor-made for you.
Hi, I'm Annalee Leonard with Mainstay Financial Group, and I'm here to design a financial plan for you and for those that you love.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please,
Don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Mainstay Financial Group offers advocacy and personal financial guidance in a caring environment. That's the heart of our practice. At Mainstay, we're dedicated to exemplary service and a caring relationship with our client, not with a number. Plan for the future now with Mainstay Financial Services.
Welcome back to Winning with Annalee. I'm Annalee Leonard, president of Mainstay Financial, right on the corners of Antes and Perry. And today I have with me Dr. Joan Connell, my partner, and we are talking about the new tax laws that came into effect 2018 and what all that is about. So I promised you when we came back I'd talk about charitable contributions. Now, charitable contributions fall in their own little slot over here. People do charitable contributions for various and sundry reasons. There is the tithing that is done in the church aspect. Many people do that because they feel that that is what they should be doing. They don't do it for a tax deduction. They do it because they want to do this. However, they do get a tax deduction for it. Other people do a lot of charitable giving because they get a tax deduction. A lot of what is given away, believe me, I see it all the time, especially with very wealthy, they'll give away something to get a tax deduction to lower a tax bracket. That's exactly what happens, okay? Now, we got to rethink our charitable giving. because what did I just say about the standard deductions?
Yeah, it went up.
They went way up. So if your standard deduction went from 6,000 to 12 and you're single, or 12 to 24 and you're married, and let's say every year you give away, let's just pick a number, $6,000, okay? And the rest of your deductions only come to 10, you don't get any more for that. Okay, it's you can't use it.
So you don't get to deduct because it's within that level of
here. So a couple of suggestions could be kind of bunch your giving. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, put it all together and give it all in the third year, or give it all in the fourth year, or give it all in year 1 and you don't give any in year 2, 3, 4, so that you have the larger amount that's being placed to help you get over that deductible amount. That's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do, if you're 70 and a half and you're required to make those required minimum distributions from the traditional IRA or the 401k, what you can do, and this is still legal, we thought they might throw that under the bus, but they still left it, you could say to your advisor, I want my distribution this year to go to E to the power of 3, because we're a nonprofit organization.
Okay, yeah.
So that distribution never touches your hands. It goes straight to the E power of 3. Now, you cannot write that off, but what you don't have to do is count it as income. So you've helped to keep your tax bracket lower.
Very interesting.
You see?
Yeah.
So it's just another way to look at things that you could do to help the average person who's out there, because that's where the majority of us fall.
Yes.
We fall right in that middle, and a lot of these things, if your tax bracket is 10% and below, they're not going to bother you anyway. But when you get to that 10 to, what do they have now? The highest now is 37. So, but when you're in that 12 to about that 32, even the 35, that's when you really need to look for ways to help yourself and see what you can do. So, you know, if you want to call my office or go to our website, we've got access to the new tax tables. You can look at them. You could go to the Forbes website. They've got them, how they are falling together. But one other thing I wanted to cover, and that one just came into my brain, with what's going on with all this stuff, the other legislation they passed, now this won't become effective till 2019, but the other thing they've passed is different laws on alimony.
Well, that will affect
scary.
A lot of people.
This is going to affect a lot of people, and the majority of people it's going to affect are going to be women. Okay? So, right now, Party A pays Party B alimony.
Yes.
Party B counts it as income. Party A counts it as a deductible expense. Guess what they're getting rid of? Cannot count it as a deductible expense.
So Party A will lose.
Party A is going to lose that factor. So what the fear is and you know, I work with the Institute of Divorce Financial Analysts, and the fear is now that there's going to be more negotiating in the courtroom where Party A says, well, no, I can't pay that much because now I can't write any of it off, so I can only pay $2,000 a month. You see? So the fear is that the recipient is going to be the one who is going to hurt the most.
Because it counts as income, or it's either going to go down as income.
Well, and that's the fear, is you see that it's going to, that negotiating is going to take place, and because of that negotiating, the limits of what's given are going to decrease instead of increase.
Yes.
And unfortunately, what happens with too many women, especially when we get to the age of women over their 40s, 50s, 60s, even now we're kind of reverting back to that. Women get out of the workforce to take care of their family,
yes,
which is a
don't we
wonderful
know
thing.
That?
But what happens, they unbelievably exponentially lower their own Social Security benefit. They've lowered their retirement savings because they're not contributing, and then you have a divorce come on top of that, and if the alimonies are going to now be lowered because they're not deductible, now you've got not just the woman but the kids who very often are going to be suffering from things that are going to be going on. What their prediction is that we're going to see a lot of divorces occur in 18. They're going to kind of accelerate them because the law will not become effective till 2019. Everybody else will be grandfathered. Now, how they're going to keep track of that? I mean, that's going to be an unbelievable nightmare to me. And why they came up with that particular faction in there, I think it was probably, you know how when they pass laws, they kind of put stuff in that nobody ever knows is in there,
right,
and nobody ever reads it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they do read those 4,852 pages. Yeah, right. You know, but it's just such a strange boomerang type thing, if you want to call it that, of these changes that are coming about. But that is something we've got to be aware of, and we've got to look at it. So, you know, again, I'm going to say to you, don't try to get through this quagmire on your own. Have your tax professional involved, have your financial professional involved, and ideally have the two of them talking to each other, because that's going to make a big, big difference for you.
Yes, it will. Yes,
You know,
it will. And that's such a great advantage that we have in our office of having Gwen Gore right there with us in our office.
Yeah. Well, it is, and that's one of the things we try to do. That's why we've got you doing the Medicare and the long-term care. I do the financial side. Gwen is down the hall and is able to do the taxes. We're kind of a one-stop location for some very, very important aspects of your life.
And very complex.
And very complex.
Very complex.
You know, you and I have talked about that with Medicare. When I first started doing Medicare, I used to go out with one page that had all the plans, A, B, C, D, and we'd look at them and find out, okay, Mrs. Smith, you like this plan, that fulfills your needs. Then I would go see what company gave me the least amount of premium for that, and that's who we did. Well,
Not
doesn't
anymore.
work that way anymore.
No, it's very, very complex.
Yeah.
More complex.
I mean, just the drug side is like...
Yes, yeah, it is. It is.
So you're going to be doing a Medicare class.
Yeah, I'll be doing a Medicare class at Pensacola State on all 3 campuses, as a matter of fact.
Oh, good.
And we can put the dates up on the screen. I can't remember all of them offhand. And you'll be doing financial survival for retirement here in the Pensacola and Gulf Breeze area in the spring.
Yes.
And
so please look at our website, and we'll list those dates for you. But the more you know, the more educated you are, the more likely you are to make the correct decisions. It's too late after you mess up the financial house, you mess up the Medicare choice, to go back and undo it.
a lot of times they're not reversible.
Yeah, many times they're not. We recently had a client come in that made a bad choice with Medicare supplement, got very ill, wanted to get off what they had, and guess what? Can't change now.
Right, yeah, the Medicare plan they had, yes.
Yeah, it can't change. So make the right decision in the beginning. Educate yourself, know about what's going on. We have a lot of events that we do that are strictly educational. Come to those, ask questions, learn, because the more you learn, the more powerful you become.
And I know that it's February, but April 28th, we have E to the Power of 3, a day of education, enlightenment, and empowerment for women.
Yes.
Our 5th annual at
our 5th annual.
Sacred Heart.
And just to remind you, E to the Power of 3 is 100% nonprofit. After we pay the expenses to put the day itself on, where our local women come and become educated, every penny goes back to Sacred Heart Women's Clinic to pay to help women in our own community who need medical care. And it's kind of a sliding scale there.
That's right.
You know, they may pay $5 a month, but they're still going to go and get that test that they need, which could prevent something major from happening.
That's right.
So ladies, put it on your calendar. April 29th.
April 28th.
28th.
Yeah.
April 28th. It is a Saturday. It's a full day event. We go on our website, e3.com. Look on the website, get your tickets, or call my office, and we can help you get ready for that day, because it's a wonderful day. And every year we've grown, and because of that we have given more and more and more
Right,
back to the
right.
community.
So.
And we can only do it with your support. So call us if you have questions on that. Look on our website. But gosh, it's going to be a wonderful day this year.
Right, and our upcoming shows will have some more greater
Yes.
detail about the event.
Yes, we're going to
So
talk
stay
in
tuned
depth
for that.
about what's going on. So all I've got to say to you is get prepared for your taxes this year. They're going to be different. Understand what you're doing. This may be the year you need to get a professional involved. You may be used to doing them yourself. If you got questions, pay that little bit, get a professional involved for the year.
Definitely worth it.
Okay, so if you have questions, call us at the office, 437-3127. I'll look forward to hearing from you. We're there to help you whenever you need it. Give us a call. It doesn't cost you anything to come into the office, sit down, see if I can help you. If I can, I will. If I cannot, I will send you to someone who can. We'll see you next month. Take care. Bye-bye.